Imagine a world without history books and written records. Battles were fought and became legends told through conversations in the countryside among inhabitants far from the conflict zones. Now imagine the exact moment when humanity decides to record organized violence for the first time without fantasies or fictional heroes taken from epics. Before Rome, more than 3,400 years ago, on a dusty plain in the Middle East, thousands of men marched towards a reconfrontation that would change history forever. Texts inscribed in Karnak explicitly mention that the information was extracted from the leather scroll, a type of campaign diary, that Canaanite, the pharaoh's scribe, kept daily during military expeditions. This original diary itself, probably on papyrus or leather, did not survive the passage of time, but its contents were preserved through stone inscriptions that still remain today. The account of the Battle of Megiddo is preserved through biblical texts in the Book of Kings and ancient Egyptian records. Archaeological evidence in walls, ceramics, palaces, and stables at the site of Megiddo in Israel corroborates historical accounts and the strategic importance of the place, known as Armageddon. This was not just a battle, it was the birth of documented warfare. This is the story of the Battle of Megiddo. We are in the 15th century BC. The world is not divided by countries, but by empires, city-states, and local kings. Egypt dominates as the greatest superpower in the known world. Its temples are gigantic, its gods imposing, its armies feared. But far from the Nile Valley, to the north, things begin to change. In the Canaan region, dozens of city-states prosper along vital trade routes. Whoever controls these routes controls wealth, influence, and power. For decades, these cities paid tribute to Egypt. But now something different happened. They rebelled, forming the Syriac-Canaanite coalition against Thutmose III, an alliance of princes and tribal chiefs from Syria and Canaan against Egyptian rule, culminating in the famous Battle of Megiddo. On the Egyptian throne sits Thutmose III. For years he lived in the shadow of his stepmother, the powerful Hatshepsut, who ruled as pharaoh while he was still young, exercising co-regency. After his stepmother's death, he assumed total power and began a period of great Egyptian military expansion, becoming known as one of the greatest conquering pharaohs. Upon assuming power, Thutmose III erased her name from monuments, possibly out of revenge or to legitimize his own reign, according to the Egyptian Museum and the BBC. But now Thutmose III reigns alone, and he needs to prove something. He needs to show the world that Egypt has not weakened, that challenging the pharaoh has consequences. When news of the rebellion reaches Thebes, Thutmose III does not hesitate. He summons his generals. He gathers thousands of soldiers. War chariots are prepared. Bows, spears, and shields are distributed. Egypt marches to war. On the other side, the rebel cities are not alone. They form a coalition between the cities of Kadesh, Megiddo, Mitanni, Tanakh, and Aruna, led by the king of the powerful city of Kadesh. For the first time, several cities set aside their rivalries to face a greater enemy, the mighty Egypt. They choose a strategic location for the confrontation: Megiddo, a fortified city surrounded by hills, located at a key point between Egypt and Mesopotamia. Whoever controls Megiddo controls the way. There, the Canaanites prepare for battle. Personally leading the Egyptian army, Pharaoh Thutmose III has to decide which route they would take. His generals presented three possibilities. The first would be a safe but long, yet protected route. Another equally safe route, but predictable. The third, a narrow passage where the army would march in single file. Not even the Canaanites expected the Egyptians to choose this dangerous route. The worried generals warned that if there was an ambush, we would be lost. But Thutmose III thinks differently. He understands something fundamental about war. Predictability is weakness. While his enemies expect him to choose a safe path, he chooses the riskiest one, the narrow passage. The Egyptian army advances slowly through the pass. War chariots cannot move freely. Soldiers march crammed between the mountains. The silence is absolute. Any attack there would mean a massacre, but no enemy appears. The Canaanites made a fatal mistake. They believed the Pharaoh would never risk everything on such a dangerous route. When they realize it, it's too late. The Egyptians emerge from the pass directly before Megiddo. The Canaanite coalition panics. The defensive formation is not ready. The Egyptian war chariots advance. Arrows cut through the air. Shields clash. Men fall. The attack is swift, precise, and devastating. Thutmose III is at the forefront, leading his soldiers like a true commander. The battle is short but intense. The enemies retreat desperately within the walls of Megiddo. Egypt has won, but then something unexpected happens. On the battlefield, the Egyptian soldiers see something tempting. Abandoned chariots, richly decorated weapons, gold, treasures. They stop to loot. This moment changes everything. While the Egyptian army is distracted, many Canaanite leaders manage to flee into the fortified city. Thutmose III is furious. He knows he could have ended the war there, but now Megiddo needs to be besieged. The siege of Megiddo lasts months. The Egyptians build trenches. They cut supply routes. They wait. Hunger becomes the greatest enemy within the walls. One by one, the Canaanite leaders surrender. They kneel before Thutmose III. The Pharaoh has completely won. Here is the most important detail. Thutmose III ordered everything to be recorded. This battle became the first clear image of military history through the Pharaoh's personal scribe, Canaanite. Every decision, every movement, every mistake. These records were engraved on the walls of the Temple of Karnak in Egypt. For the first time in history, a battle was documented with military detail, strategy, geography, command, consequences. The war ceased to be merely an oral memory. She made history. Thutmose III became one of the greatest generals of antiquity, compared centuries later to Napoleon and Alexander. Megiddo came to be seen as an eternal symbol of conflict. Centuries later, its name would echo in prophecies. Armageddon, the place where battles define the fate of the world. The Battle of Megiddo wasn't the biggest, it wasn't the bloodiest, but it was the most important, because there humanity decided to record war. Since then, all battles, ancient or modern, follow the same principle: strategy, human error, ambition, power, and it all started there, in Megiddo, where human war entered history. If you like the video, don't forget to leave a like and share it with those who like history as much as you do. Subscribe so I can bring you more historical adventures. If you want to understand the modern world, you need to know the wars of the past, because history doesn't repeat itself. It rhymes.